Your people are the same as your competitors' people. They're the average out of the market that you can attract to your business. Now, if you can actually make people your greatest asset, it is like dynamite. But for the most part, it's simply not true. It could be a line in The Office from Ricky Gervais. People are our greatest asset, you know. There's a guy at Harvard Business School by the name of David Yoffie who's a strategy specialist, and he's done some research on competitive advantage in strategy and how you actually drive a sustainable competitive advantage. And different sources of competitive advantage are easier to overhaul by your competitors. So for example, if you manage to establish an advantage over your competitors in terms of price, that can be overhauled. That response lag can occur within 60 days. So within 2 months, your competitors have caught up to you again. If we're talking about advertising, and you can manage to establish a competitive advantage there in advertising, well, that could last you for as much as a full year. In innovation, we all talk about innovation, right? Innovation is so important. Has everyone heard about big data? Okay, this is, I think, going to turn out in a few years to be a con job, right? What big data says is, we have so much information, and we don't really know what to do with it, so now we're going to start doing this big data thing, and we'll make sense out of all this information that's randomly sitting there. And we're going to drag insights out because we have artificial intelligence. And we're going to be able to put this together in a meaningful way so that all of a sudden we're going to be able to get value from all this data we've captured for the last 20 years. Is it just me? Is it just me, or is that just complete bullshit? So you've got another industry springing up around big data and getting all this information to provide insight to us and make decision making easier and more agile and faster. I don't see how it's even possible, because for 20 years, everyone who's ever sat on an IT project building a system has gone, let's capture that just in case, right? And there's so much stuff that's been captured just in case, that is the noise that stops us from getting to any data that provides insight for us. We are fault tolerant. Get it 80% right and keep moving. Keep moving, keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. You know what, your team's stuck there thinking, I wonder what we should do next. That's the worst thing that can happen. You make some calls, you move forward, and you adjust as you go. Gee, that wasn't exactly what I thought would happen. Let's change, let's move. But using the value and the expertise and the insight of the people you have available to you, and if you can actually get someone stretched to that point, which is right just a tiny little bit over the edge of their capability, just a tiny little bit, you will start to see the magic happen. Now, I said before, happy workers aren't necessarily productive workers. We're going to keep coming back to this. Do you know what makes happy workers? And do you know what makes happy people? My firm belief, there's not many things I believe for sure in life. And I've got to tell you, the older I get, the less certain I am about practically everything. But here's one thing I am certain about. All self-esteem comes from the achievement of difficult goals. Simple. And let me just take you through this thing called causal link and correlation. Because there's all this research coming out now that says happy workers are productive workers. No, it's bullshit. It is. Correlation says two things are linked to each other somehow. For example, there's a correlation between smoking and alcoholism. So if you're an alcoholic, it's much more likely that you smoke. The incidence of smoking in alcoholics is much higher than the general population. But no one would suggest that being an alcoholic causes you to smoke. But there's no causal relationship there, it's just a correlation. And when you look back on your career in 10 years' time, or when you look back on your tenure in this role in this organisation, what do you want to be saying about yourself? And in your heart of hearts, where no one else goes and no one else knows, what sort of a leader are you? Because the world's not getting any easier. It's changing rapidly in all sorts of different ways. As a leader, if you want to step up, you need to be the rock that supports your people in your organisation in that change.